So, folks, there is a man named Oliver Anthony, and he went viral, like last week, late last week. Like, it's been like the span of like several days. And, he's blown up the entire, a lot of places online, both left and right, but predominantly amongst conservative folks. And specifically for his song, Rich Men North of Richmond. Now, unfortunately, due to copyright reasons, I can't just play the song for you. But I can like, you know, do my best to just, share the essence of it with you, you know? Have you seen World of Bass has been released? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. Anyway. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord, they know, Lord knows they just all want total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause of rich men. So, yeah, you need the banjo or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Imagine banjo, etc. I'm not gonna sing the whole thing. That you kind of get the idea. If you were hearing the tone and kind of the rhythm and all that I just sang, it's basically that for the entire song. Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. You should pull up the. I have the lyrics. I have them right here. I was looking at them. They're look. They're right here. I got them. Okay? So, a lot of people are like, oh, they listen to that opening, they're like, oh shit, dude, this is great. This is, you know, this is like a return to kind of, not just country roots, but like older folk roots, you know? Kind of like, you know, the man is keeping us down. We're getting all fed up in this new world of exploitation, etc. And where I kind of fall off of the song is in verse 2, because the structure of the song is essentially, you know, we're being exploited by the wealthy interests of our country, by our economic system, which is true. But then we get to verse 2. I'm just gonna read it out because I think reading it out makes it clearer why it's a bit interesting here. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milkin' welfare. Okay, so a couple of things, couple production notes here, right? Politicians aren't looking for the minors on an island somewhere. Let's be really clear about that. There are a lot of politicians who have no interest, or in fact, a great deal of interest in those minors on an island somewhere not being found, okay? Number 2, politicians should be looking out for both, sexually abused children and also for minors, working in the mines, because both of those groups of people need government intervention to keep them safe. Okay? And additionally, it is a problem that we have people going hungry on the streets. But that's not because obese people are eating all of the food or taking up all of the money. That's not actually the things that are being juxtaposed in that verse are things that have nothing to do with each other. And in fact, a lot of the reason for like a lot of the elements of like people being obese in the first place are directly because of, again, the rich men north of Richmond. Okay? It's because of the wealthy people here that's a problem. Additionally, milking welfare kind of implies that like poor people who are fat just shouldn't be on welfare, and like the entire purpose of welfare isn't to keep people skinny, it's to keep them alive and able to survive and eventually do other things with their life, so we don't just have corpses on the street. Because that's a thing that would happen in the past prior to welfare programs, where there would just be dead bodies in the street because people would go out and die in the street, because that's where they had to live when there was no welfare. Anyway, it gets a little bit weirder because it seems to double down on the fat element of this in verse 3. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep kicking them around. And, like, again, your taxes aren't high because obese people eat candy sometimes. Also, a lot of people aren't obese just because of candy or because of fudge rounds. That's not actually what happens. Bluestone, hello to the Kufel Raiders. Welcome. We're talking about the truth behind the rich men north of Richmond song that has risen to conservative virality, and how it's very, very strange that, hey, Jazz Dog, hello. And yes, thank you so much, Keffels. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. I talk about the news and politics. My name's Jack. Please hit the follow button on my stream, and consider coming on over to riverboat.gg, where you can watch ad-free. Otherwise, you're going to get hit with an ad in approximately 4.5 minutes. So just giving you guys a heads up. Anyway, welcome, Kufelers. So, in the third verse of this song, essentially just doubling down on the fact that, like, yeah, those rich men north of Richmond are coming after us. They're keeping us down by using our taxes to pay for fat people. And also kicking around young men and causing them to kill themselves. And also, those rich men are so preoccupied with, again, even the conceit of this is really weird. Yeah, all of those rich, wealthy guys north of Richmond, they're really concerned with the welfare of sex-trafficked children that predominantly rich people are abusing. Like, it's insane. It's insane, right? Like, it pulls you in. I think it does this very effectively, The first verse, all about, like, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. I feel like that resonates with so many people. And then, like, just being like, oh yeah, the world's gotten bad. for people like me and people like you, you know, working class people is the presumption at the beginning. But then as you go through the song, you realize the song isn't about people like me and people like you as in fellow workers. It's about people like me and people like you as in, you know, the right type of people. Yeah, economic inequality is because people eat too much fudge, apparently. The economic disparities in America are because of big fudge. But I don't think it's supposed to be implied they're interested. I don't think it's supposed to imply they're interested in their welfare. I think it's supposed to imply they're pedophiles. But again, I wish politicians would look out for minors and not just minors on an island somewhere. I mean, it could be implying that politicians are pedophiles. You know, that could be true. But again, these two sentences don't really work together. I don't know. The reading that they are pedophiles, I don't get this one. Exactly, Goblin City Band. You get what I'm saying. This is for Salt of the Earth types. But nah, look, the real thing is, if you want to look at which politicians are making things worse for minors, all I want to say is, guess who's deregulating mines? I wonder which political party is deregulating mines. I wonder. But, you know, whatever. We don't have to go that deep into it. But the reason I know that this song is resonating with potentially some of the worst people is, well, I saw this from Midwestern Marks, a revolutionary anthem for the American masses. And I just have to say, if you are a leftist and you are reading only through the first verse of this song, you need to do yourself a favor and read the lyrics of the rest of the song, because it's very clearly not an anthem for the masses. OMG, Vosh debated that guy? Yeah, he did. And, well, here, I need to, I think that when you get Midwestern Marks and a man named Awaken, or who runs a channel named Awaken with JP, which, if you guys haven't seen this channel before, you will want to Roblox yourself, so please strap yourselves in. You know, make sure your arms are tied down and you're away from any sharp objects. So apologies in advance. Here we go. Up, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. No, sir.
Hi, I'm one of the Richmond north of Richmond people in DC. Ever hear of us? The new song Richmond North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony is spreading a lot of misinformation about us very wealthy yet very caring individuals who happen to live north of Richmond. It's the #1 song in the country and we don't like it. I mean, we're just out here selflessly trying to serve the public's best interest. But the song tries to paint us in a negative light, saying things like, I've been selling my soul.
Nope. You're not getting me.
People, it's in your best interest. How else are you gonna own nothing and be happy about it? If you're paid well, you can't just own nothing, and getting paid well so you can own things, like, that's not gonna make you happy.
So, you'll notice right off the bat, right? Like, initially you're like, this is how it sucks you in. Oh, yeah, you know, we do need to get better pay for workers. We do need better pay. But when you float the idea of, like, raising the minimum wage to these same people, they will immediately spit on it, you know? Also, yes, JP looks terrible. Is this satire? JP is a satirist for conservative ideals.
Yeah, the New World is part of the Great Reset. It helps people out. And living in the New World with an old soul, we have done our absolute best to disconnect people from God and their souls. Hashtag communism will work this time. So even believing you have a soul is a thought crime according to us. It's the #1 threat to our democracy. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit.
Nope. Nope. Is this guy doing comedy? Yes, he's doing conservative comedy.
Print trillions of dollars, and we think taxes are too low. Did you know that last year some people took home some of their income? Selfish. When all of that income could be going to Ukraine, which is then fed back to the military-industrial complex, which is then fed back to us, the rich men north of Richmond.
Which politics?
You know, I do find it very interesting that conservatives seem to think that, like, the left wants to tax the working people more, as opposed to what the left actually wants, which is to tax rich people. You know, this is what bothers me so much, right? Like, people are like, well, you know, Republicans want to cut taxes. No, they don't. Republicans don't want to cut taxes. They don't want to cut taxes for working people. They want to cut taxes for their rich friends. That's how it works. You can look at the Trump tax cuts when he cut like $2 trillion over 10 years from the budget. When he cut taxes by that much. And like, oh, well, you know, so the working class and the middle class, they got some tax breaks in that. Yeah, but you know what? You know what happened to those tax breaks? Do you know what happened to those tax breaks? Those tax breaks were made to sunset, as opposed to the tax breaks for the wealthy, which were not made to sunset. So any tax breaks you got from the Trump tax cuts, if you are working class or middle class, those are going away, or have already gone away. And so, again, they want to look like they're cutting taxes, but that's why they then want to, like, try and do, like, kind of this paper cup game, you know, where they just want to shuffle around kind of how taxes work in a way that fucks over you and your family if you're working class, poor, middle class, specifically because it can benefit rich people. This is the entire reason why, by the way, some conservatives push ideas like a flat sales tax, as opposed, like, we will just get rid of taxes, and then you'll just have to pay a flat sales tax on only on luxury goods, so it will only predominantly affect the wealthy. Except when you look at how those actually play out, they predominantly shift the tax burden onto the poor and working class. This is the conservative position. The conservative position is to pay people shitty wages and then to deflect. That is the conservative position. Nope, you're not getting me.
Look out for minors, and not just on an island somewhere. That is very offensive to all of us who are on Epstein's flight logs. It's practically hate speech. And the insinuation that child trafficking is a problem, that's just a crazy conspiracy theory. That's why we so desperately tried to silence and smear Sound of Freedom. I mean, if it wasn't such an
Well, again, the reason Sound of Freedom was bad was because it hurt actual child sex trafficking efforts, like anti-child sex trafficking efforts. Like, the organization Sound of Freedom is based on literally had, like, led to, like, botched anti-child sex trafficking operations. That is why it's a bad movie, because it's kind of glorifying fucking up the actual work of ending child sex trafficking. Yeah. Oh yeah, they also may or may not have kidnapped children just from, like, non-sex trafficking homes, you know.
outlandish theory, then our actions would have us protecting those who traffic minors. And we wouldn't...
Yeah, exactly. Are conservatives now for cutting defense funding? No. No, actually. Conservatives want to balloon the defense budget literally every year.
What we're doing?
Lord, we got folks in...
The movie was mid anyways. Hard to even defend on those merits. Okay, but have you considered that it plays into QAnon conspiracy theory and that makes it good?
Obviously against body positivity and socialism.
Young men are putting...
Oh, wait. Socialism is when people are fat because all you're eating are fudge? And because you're on welfare, you can afford fudge? I don't... Come on now. Oh, yeah. Mithril Mist. Good pointing that out. Literally, one of the producers behind Sound of Freedom was charged with sex trafficking. Yeah. Literally, Sound of Freedom funder charged with child kidnapping. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, was charged on July 21st with accessory to child kidnapping. But yeah, the conservatives and Sound of Freedom definitely very anti-child trafficking.
A side issue? You mean reducing the carbon footprint by reducing the population? You can trust that those of us who say we always want less people in the world are always looking out for your best interest, and we want you to have a long,
But have
healthy...
you considered just not being a white name in my chat? BWA equals Better White Name Free America.
Paladin, thank you so much for gifting a sub over to Goblin City band. I really appreciate the support.
life. We literally want less people in the world, which means death is the only way to bring about that result. So of course we care about your life, because we want more death.
Again, like, this is why conservative satire is just kind of bad. Because conservative satire doesn't really understand, like, any of the motivations of why like the left does what it does at all. It doesn't even understand why the neoliberal left does what it does. All they're like is like, yeah, the left wants socialism, and socialism is when people go hungry and die, but also socialism is when people get fat on welfare, and also socialism is when someone makes me stub my toe. It's not satire, it's a self-report. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I'm really irritated. I should have pre-watched a little bit to know that he was going to use the entire goddamn song in this video.
Total control and want to know what you think and do? What? Our efforts to work with social media companies where we tell them what to censor so we can manipulate what you...
Again, the people collecting the data on you to figure out what you think and what you know, the people doing that are literally the companies. The companies are the ones collecting your data so that they can sell shit to you. They're the ones collecting your stuff, dude. The government, yes, does collect your metadata, and yes, does spy on everyone, but also, like, literally everyone on the internet does that. If you are on the internet, whatever site you're on Twitch, you're on YouTube, you're on Twitter, you're on X, you're on whatever, they're collecting your data, and how they make money is by selling that data to other people. That's literally how it works. It's literally why social media apps are free, because they take your data and then they sell it.
You think, along with a constant stream of state-sponsored propaganda, is all because we don't care what you think.
Hey, Beef Torque.
In our surveillance state, which will get a lot more surveillance-y once we implement digital currencies, where we monitor your every...
literally the people who are implementing digital currencies the most are like far-right conservative figures. Who was pushing cryptocurrency? Who was pushing NFTs? It was predominantly right-wing figures.
Action and your financial transactions is because we don't care what you do. We use the Patriot Act to monitor you because
Who pushed the Patriot Act? Whose idea was that? Was it leftist politicians? No. Did a lot of leftist politicians unfortunately vote for it? Yes. But it was the brainchild of the right.
we don't care what you do. Nothing in this song is true.
Richmond, north of Richmond.
Nope. Nope. I do look at YouTube chat. I have all the chats open. I see everything. I see everything that all of you do. Nothing is hidden from me.
You don't think people really know, do you? Do you want to be an unhealthy piece of garbage your entire life? Well, me either.
What?
That's why I love Bond Charge, a holistic wellness company
What?
that offers a wide range of products to help you up-level your
Okay,
life.
I know that he's selling products, but I do. Is the entire end of the video just him? The last two-thirds of this video is him selling a product. The rest of this is all him selling a thing. What was the final punchline of the joke?
Wanna know what they don't know that you do.
I don't think people know. You don't think people really know, do you?
Okay, the punchline is, oh, he's confused that people don't trust politicians. Wow, groundbreaking comedy, 10 out of 10, no notes. Why is he nearly naked? Because his whole entire persona is that he's like a new wave health guru. Like, that's how he started his comedy career. And, yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like he'd be unironically on board with Tucker Carlson red light ball tanning. Yeah. Okay. He's an anti-vaxxer, though? Well, yeah, of course. He's a conservative. He believes all of the crazy conservative stuff. Now, you might think to yourself, hey, look, the lyrics of the song are bad. Bad people are supporting it. That's got to be it, right? That's got to be it. Like, it's just resonating with conservatives. They've made it blow up to the top of the charts. Like, that's it. But actually, that's just kind of scratching the surface of this song and the peculiarity of this song, right? Because it is really weird how it blew up to the top of the charts. #1 song in the world, some people are saying. And that's really strange, isn't it? No one's heard of him before this video of him playing in the woods with his guitar. You know, he's got a mic set up. He's got a dog laying there. You know, like it feels very natural, you know, for lack of a better word. But I got news for you guys. It is anything but natural. It is anything but natural. This is I know people have been saying, "Oh, it's like probably like some AstroTurf thing." No, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Here. So this is Matt Walsh, okay? The main reason this song resonates with so many people isn't political. It's because the song is raw and authentic. We are suffocated by artificiality. Everything around us is fake. A guy in the woods pouring his heart over his guitar is real. Most music is essentially computer generated. Movies are CGI. The news is fake. Most of what you see on social media is fake. AI, Photoshop, deepfakes, etc. We crave authenticity because we don't have nearly enough of it. And Chloe Cole, detransitioner, transphobe. He perfectly conveys the frustration of modern Americans. And this is, the sentiment is repeated ad nauseum basically, over and over and over again. Yeah, just raw and uncut. Wink. But interestingly, I came across this tweet from a man who goes by Lucky on Twitter.com at the MAGA Hulk. And keep in mind, this is conservative on conservative violence here, but I'm just gonna read out this statement because it's a bit lengthy, but I think it speaks to the fact that this song is not organically rising to the top of the charts. Okay? I didn't want to comment on all this because Oliver Anthony seems like a genuinely great guy. But Matt Walsh's sanctimonious word vomit forced my hand. There was nothing authentic about this song's rise to popularity. Jason Howerton seems to be the key player involved in the AstroTurfing campaign. He's the CEO of Reach Digital, a company which helps media companies and political influencers grow their social media footprint exponentially. Jason was one of the first accounts heavily promoting this song, as he provided a background on Oliver Anthony and his faith. Jason indicates that Oliver Anthony had been contacted to record the song. Jason also admits he even covered the cost to produce the record. So who wrote the song, and how did so many big right-wing accounts have the song ready to post simultaneously? You can like the song and like its message without gaslighting us into believing this was an authentic viral hit by a simple country man with a mic and a guitar. Launch a product, get over 1.3 million hits overnight was the article Mr. Howerton shared on LinkedIn. This was another Conservative Inc. AstroTurf campaign. And it ends by saying, embrace it. So what this person is upset about, by the way, is not the fact that this is an AstroTurf campaign. They're totally fine with that element of it. What they're upset about is, in fact, the fact that they're pretending it's not AstroTurf. They just want you to genuinely know that it's AstroTurf and be fine with it, okay? So, just a couple of screenshots provided here to just kind of back up some claims. Here's Jason Howerton, CEO of Reach Digital. I have helped grow media companies and political influencers grow their social media footprint exponentially. Over the course of a decade, I have developed a replicable monetization strategy that has helped tens of millions of dollars in new revenue for companies, or created tens of millions of dollars in new revenue for companies and clients. I am just getting started. And then you have Jason Howerton over here. Oliver was about 30 days sober when someone reached out and asked him to come record a song for his YouTube channel. That song was Rich Men North of Richmond. Within days, the song was going viral on social media. And, oh look. Liked by Jason Howerton. Launch a product, get over 1.3 million hits, and it's a video of Oliver Anthony right there. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very strange, even. And you might be asking yourselves, hey, you know, if Jason Howerton covered the costs for the recording, who was the someone who reached out to Oliver Anthony? You might be saying, well, maybe this is all just kind of a coincidence. Maybe this is, maybe Jason Howerton just happened to know about this, because he knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, something like that. Well, it turns out, you can get fucked if you think that, because Dan Bongino confirmed it was him. Jason works with me. Jason is a great guy who texted me last week, blown away by the emotion in Oliver's song. Jason wanted to help. He flew from California to North Carolina to help Oliver get the message out. Yes, that's what he does. He uses digital platforms to spread the word, mine included. This fucking moron below, again, referring to the MAGA Hulk, doesn't have a clue about what happened. Imbeciles, like this fucker below, are what decimate our movement. They open their big mouths about shit they have no idea about, while sitting on their fat asses criticizing the doers. Fuck this guy. Which, is, to translate that, Dan Bongino is big mad, because the MAGA Hulk opened up his big mouth and said exactly what's happening. And Dan Bongino's really fucking angry because it directly contradicts the predominant narrative that Oliver Anthony is just an organically homegrown dude. You know? It just directly contradicts that. But also, Dan Bongino, in his big madness, kind of forgets that by saying this, he's confirming that Jason Howerton personally flew out to North Carolina, likely by Dan Bongino's, direction, to fly out and help produce this in person in North Carolina. This is insane that we are getting this much kind of backroom baseball right out in the open. And additionally, we have one last kind of nail to put in this coffin. You might be like, oh, well, you know what? I don't care. I still like Oliver Anthony. He seems like a good straight shooter. Maybe he was taken advantage of by all these right-wing types. Maybe he's just a good-hearted guy who wants to sing his truth to the world. Well, I just need you all to know that Oliver Anthony's truth is that 9/11 was an inside job. The Daily Dot earlier today. Newfound right-wing country music celebrity Oliver Anthony kept a YouTube playlist with 9/11 truther videos. He curated his own playlist of 9/11 truther videos. Let's go over this, okay? By the way, when he initially posted "Rich Men North of Richmond," it was shared virally on August 10th. It's been like 5 days, guys. This has unraveled in the course of less than a week. All right? Now, Anthony explained in a video introducing himself that he believed pedophilia was becoming normalized. Which, really, let's take a look at that. Let's just take a what Oliver Anthony, what are you up to? What are you talking about right now? Let's see. I think it's this one.
Well, hey, it's August the 7th, 2023, and as of this recording, tomorrow on Tuesday, Radio WV is going to upload the debut of Richmond North of Richmond, and it's going to be the first song to get out there that's been recorded on a real microphone and a real camera, and not just on my cell phone. And Lord willing, it's going to get some traffic, and maybe at least a few of you are going to drift your way over here, and I thought I'd have kind of an introduction video on what it is I'm aiming to do here. So, I've been playing a long time and singing. I really started to write my own music back in 2021. Things were obviously not good for a lot of people, and in some respects I was one of those people, and I had wasted a lot of nights getting high and getting drunk, and I had sort of gotten to a point in my life where even things that I did care about didn't mean anything to me anymore. And I mean, this is certainly no Dr. Phil episode, but
and don't get me wrong, I don't doubt that he has had a very rough life. man, if you are one of the working people of America who has gotten like the shit kicked out of them by every company they've ever worked for, like, yeah, it's rough out there, and a lot of people do turn to like drugs to get by because their lives fucking suck, you know? So like I don't want to like hassle him for that, right? Because I don't think what is astroturfed is necessarily his experiences here. He owns 90 acres. Well, okay, but 90 acres where? Right? You might say like, "Oh, well that's a lot of acres," but like if it's 90 acres in the middle of podunk nowhere, that keep in mind you can get 90 acres for like $60K in some places in America, right? Like, all I'm saying is, yeah, if you're in West Virginia, that's not a lot. Yes, I don't think it is his identity that is faked. I think that it is all of the pushing of this song and saying that this is the voice of the working man that is fake, right?
I found an outlet in this music, and I started uploading a couple songs, and you know, Ain't Got a Dollar I uploaded spring of last year, and then Rich Man's Gold, Cobwebs and Cocaine, and the list goes on from there. And there's probably been about a dozen or so originals that I've put out just off my cell phone. And I started getting messages from people saying like how much the music was helping them, and you know, with their struggles in their lives, and that they'd been sitting on the back porch listening to me for the last hour. And it just I don't know, it really gave me a purpose. It made me feel like I wasn't just wasting my time. And so anyway, kind of in the last roller coaster of the last year, I have decided that this is going to be what I do. At all costs, no matter what, I'm going to create. I'm going to write, create, and produce as much original, authentic music as I can.
I mean, I don't think it's a good look to shit on somebody saying like, oh, well, it's only worth $35,000. Like, I don't know. There are things to critique about this. His personal amount of wealth prior to this rise of fame. If he's not like a multi-millionaire, then I don't care. Hell, if he's even a millionaire, I would care about that. He's not. He's not.
In the hopes that...
Yeah, it's literally a place called Farmville, chat. It's literally a place called Farmville.
That it'll at least help somebody out there that needs it. And I know we're living in dark times, and I know that this is really just the beginning.
I think at some point in this video, he's going to drop that axial gradiometer. I don't think that was the primary point of him posting this video. I think he's posting this video, and the reason we're watching this is because he knows that powerful people in conservative media helped him record the song that he's about to, like, distribute, right? He knows that, and so he is preemptively making a video to introduce himself to the people who are going to come by, right? Yeah. That's what's interesting.
And there's a lot of beautiful people in this world, and I meet a lot of awesome people every day. Even back when I did work in the factory, you know, I sing about selling my soul, and I am a ginger, so I don't know if I have a soul to sell or not. But I met a lot of good people even back then, working third shift, 12 hours, 6 days a week, and now I spend a lot of time on job sites, and I meet people from all across the country, and the universal thing I see is that it's like no matter how hard they push, and and how much effort they put into whatever it is they're doing, they just can't quite get ahead because the dollar's not worth enough. It's being overtaxed.
Okay, but see, this is where we get into, like, I can sympathize with a lot of his circumstances in life, but the political solutions that he is coming up with to solve those, or as like background reasons for it, are not functional, right? Like, the dollar hasn't lost value because it is being taxed. That taxes aren't devaluing our currency.
People are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so yeah, I want to
okay, we are sick and tired. Sick because we don't have health care. We have to pay hundreds of dollars a month for health care. So we're sick because private corporations seek to profit from that sickness. And we're tired because private corporations seek to profit from our labor. Those are the private corporations are at the root of that, not the government and taxes.
I want to be a voice for those people, and not just them, just humans in general, and some of the struggles and the battles that they go through. And there'll be a lot of positive songs on here too, and there already are some, 90-some Chevy and Between You and Me, and I mean, even Ain't Got a Dollar. Those are going to be fun songs, and there'll be plenty more like that. But I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and hopefully you like what you hear. My email is oliveranthonymusic@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'll speak a few minutes on Richmond, north of Richmond, and then we'll hang this thing up. I don't want to chatter too long to you, but Richmond, north of Richmond, it touches on my time in Western North Carolina, working in the factory. It talks about some people that live north of Richmond, Virginia, who I'm sure you're very well.
Yeah, exactly, BCC TV. This is kind of the bind, right? Like, I feel bad for his circumstances, but also, like, again, his political prescriptions are garbage, and they're reflected in the song. And that just makes it so damn hard, They played him like a damn fiddle. I don't know if, like, they played him, because he does have some reprehensible views, right? But, like, they needed someone like him, right? And it just happened to be him.
Aware of who make life a little more difficult than it should be. It touches base on human trafficking and the atrocities that, I'll say this. I sit pretty dead center down the aisle on politics, and always have. I remember as a kid the conservatives wanting war and me not understanding that, and I remember a lot of the controversies when the left took office, and it seems like both sides serve the same master, and that master is not someone of any good to the people of this country. But I think one of the worst things that a human being can do is take advantage of a child. And I can't begin to
Okay, so far that is true. That part's true.
Conceptualize what has to happen to someone in order for them to think that's okay. And I think I drew the line on being quiet when I started to see that becoming normalized. And I'll leave that at that.
Okay, so by leaving that at that, it leaves people like a lot of room to kind of like try and figure out what do you mean, right? Because when he says like pedophilia is being normalized, how is it being normalized, right? And the only way I can think of is exactly Weird Beards and I'm Idaho. Exactly. It is the, you know, pride flag in school. He has bought the conservative line on this, that like queer people or trans people having greater acceptance, and it is in some way grooming children. That's the predominant line in this country when people say that, like, oh, you know, sex abuse is being normalized. And they'll just make a vague allusion to it and move on, like he just did, you know? Yeah. Cuz he's not saying, "Oh yeah, like I'm flipping on the television and I'm seeing like children doing lap dances." Like, no, of course not. Of course not. So it has to be something way more obscure and way more conspiracy brained. And yeah. So again, what we have here is a person who has been, by their circumstances, done wrong. And he knows that there are powerful forces that are seeking to fuck him over and people like him over. But he is lacking the class consciousness to be able to articulate that the rich men north of Richmond are conservatives predominantly, and that those conservatives serve at the beck and call of capitalists. Those capitalists are the ones who are keeping down the working man, who are fucking up the dollar. So he knows the fundamental wrong, but has been led astray by conspiracy theory. And honestly, I'm gonna throw this out there because it's been an idea that's been kicking around in my noodle for a hot minute, which is that conservatives deliberately employ conspiracism because it redirects their base away from actual issues. You know, when conservatives hear folk anthems like Solidarity Forever, and they see people on the picket lines fighting for better wages for, you know, the folks at John Deere, you know, they intuitively understand that those people are fighting for a just cause. And they understand the two sides of that fight. But in the fight where they look around and they see like their entire neighborhoods are poor, their entire region is poor, and like everyone's struggling, and no one can get the healthcare they need, they understand one side of the equation, but on the way to understanding who their actual adversary is, you know, the capitalist class, they get led astray by people who have a vested interest in them not figuring out who their actual enemies are. So, again, this is why I think conspiracism has become a very useful tool for the right.
In the last part of the song, it touches on suicide.
Oh, this is the phenomenon I call anti-coastal ideology. Inland America hates the coasts because they overbear us. In the past, the coasts were Republican and rich. Now the coastal party has taken up progressive issues. So they switched parties, but still anti-coastal ideology. That could be, yeah.
Suicide rates and really on mental health and depression and there's no reason why young men or women in this country should be committing suicide. There's obviously a problem, you know. People talk about epidemics in this country and the homelessness and the drug use and the lack of skilled labor.
By the way, what he's talking about here, there's a term for it. It's called diseases of despair. You know, diseases or crimes of despair. When people hit certain points of economic desperation, they lose hope that things can get better. And yeah, look, a lot of this, for a variety of social reasons, will disproportionately affect men for reasons like a lot of men are socialized that their role in life and their role in being a successful man is bringing home the bacon, you know? They're providing for their family, providing for themselves. And like, oh, if you don't have your own place by the time you're 20 or 25 or 30, well, then you are a failure, right? A lot of people have, internalized these messages, and as they get older and they can't make progress towards these goals that they believe are the social norms, they feel more and more hopeless. And so these acts of despair are methods of coping with that pain, that social pain, right? They drink it away, they inject it away. And ultimately, if they fall far enough from like being able to numb that hurt within them, they try and take their own lives, and part of that is like it is directly due to the fact that like you can't like so many towns in America. I've worked in and around small towns, okay? Like I mean really middle of nowhere type places, okay? I've done that. I've seen what happens. I've seen, I've taken care of kids whose parents, one or both, have taken their own lives. I took care of those kids at the camp I worked at. And a big part of that is because you look around in a rural town and your options for trying to get a better job are like working at like the mom and pop diner, working at a gas station, trying to, commute 2 hours to a nearby factory, and then 2 hours back, or working at a Walmart. Walmart will roll into these small towns, and I've talked about this before, will roll into these small towns. They'll undercut all of the prices for all of the mom and pop stores in that town, and then they'll run them out of business and then jack up their prices. And often it will be one of the only places in town where you can get a decent job at a decent wage, but those hours they give you are not going to be enough for you to get like sustainable benefits because they have to pay for those. So you're kept living below the poverty line, on welfare, on all of these government programs, while working at Walmart full time. And for a lot of people, that feels like shit. It feels like your life is getting shit on day after day after day. And for a lot of people, they feel like there's no way out of that. And so, to them, they look around for answers. They look around for, why is my life like this? For any reason. And that's what leads them to different conspiracy theories. It's why, like, the government imposing, like, vaccines cause them to be like, well, whoa, the government coming in and telling me to do this, well, can't be good. And so it's this conspiracism leads them away from recognizing their true enemies, which are the capitalists who put that Walmart in their town and destroyed all of the small businesses that would have otherwise tried to like band together and like look out for one another. Because let's be honest, if you're in a small town with mom and pop stores, those businesses do actually operate like small businesses. They're not businesses with like 500 employees that are still, technically classified as a small business. They are to some degree closer to a democratic worker co-op. Because your boss is somebody you know and can look in the eye. So, again, there are a lot of people who get fucked over by this and then get led to wrong conclusions. And I just want us to understand why that is.
And the suicide rates, those things aren't those aren't problems. Those are symptoms of a bigger universal problem. And a lot of people know that. It's common sense, but we don't talk about it enough. And maybe that is the problem today, is we just don't talk enough common sense anymore. You know, we've kind of went a little off the deep end. So yeah. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Will you? Because there's another 2 minutes left.
I hope wherever you are in the world listening to this, and whatever it is that you're trying to do with your life, I hope that you succeed at it. And I hope, if you take anything away from me and the music I write, it's that this life is a beautiful opportunity. And
oh yeah, no. Look, alt fact. I'm talking about people in similar circumstances to where this guy was. This guy's political opinions that he has expressed so far are not good. Yes, and yes, we are listening to a 9/11 truther say there isn't enough common sense in the world.
Where you are, or what you've done, where you think your life's heading, everything can change in a moment. As long as you're above the dirt, you've got a fighting chance. And I'll say this and I'll go. I spent a long time being an angry little agnostic punk. And I remember talking about Sky Daddy and Cloud Papa, and I would get so angry about the concept of God because
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, our family. I think that after having been astroturfed, there are a lot of conservative folks who genuinely listen and sympathize with this guy, which is why I find this story way more interesting, knowing what I know now. You know.
I had sort of perverted what my vision of God was, because I looked at the religion of man as God and not God himself. But there is a divine creator that loves you, and sometimes it takes falling down on your knees and getting ready to call things quits before it becomes obvious that he's there. But he's always there. You just got to look out for him and listen for him. So I'll see you on the next one. And I love you guys and gals, and I'm really appreciative of you listening to my music and giving me a voice. So Lord willing, this is just the beginning. Hope you guys have a good night.
So, yeah. Just take a look, because there's a playlist on his channel called Videos That Make Your Noggin Bigger. And, you know, there's a lot of interesting things to be seen here. Ah, yes. Fox News segment on the dancing Israelis. Huh. That's interesting. What Fox News segment on the dancing Israelis? Now, if you aren't familiar with 9/11 conspiracy theories, you might be forgiven for just kind of eyes glazing over, going past that. But when you've been around as long as I have, okay, it turns out the dancing Israeli thing is a popular conspiracy theory amongst 9/11 truthers, in which there were a couple news clips showing Israelis dancing, purportedly to celebrate the fall of the Twin Towers on 9/11. These are shared around often among among 9/11 truther channels. And to an extent that the Anti-Defamation League has had to put out statements essentially being like, hey, we know these clips are circulating. They have nothing to do with 9/11. And Israel wasn't involved in 9/11. And also, we just want to point out that the places that these clips are also shared around most frequently are in Telegram channels dedicated to anti-Semitism and hating on Jews. So, yeah. There are some wild elements here. Keep in mind, at the time, these news clips were basically saying, oh yeah, 5 Israelis danced and helped orchestrate the attacks and then celebrated, and then Mossad got them and had them deported, and they were never seen again. And like, it's just not true. It is actual anti-Semitic clown shit. Let's see what else is here. A biblical lecture, controlling your dopamine, what you think you are. Jordan Peterson on free speech. Maps of meaning. We got the Chaos Dragon here. We got Joe Rogan Experience, Bob Lazar and Jeremy Corbell. Why people are afraid to stand out. Oh, we got Billy Graham's 1957 New York Crusade sermon at Yankee Stadium. Again, Billy Graham, not a good dude, actually. Turns out, pretty checkered past, but we'll have to go into Billy Graham on another day. Make confidence your bitch. True. That's actually good advice, right here. And, let's see, what else we got here? We got, Luciano Pavarotti. We got some Pavarotti on there. That's nice. Some vintage autumn music. Helps your brain swell, apparently. Oh! Interesting. We've got a Patrick Bet-David clip. The guy who runs Valuetainment. Talking with a guy named Richard Gage. Now, if any of you are familiar with 9/11 conspiracy theory, you will recognize Richard Gage as being one of the 9/11 truther guys. He is one of the most 9/11 truthery guys out there. He made basically his entire fringe career as the founder of the organization Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. And in fact, frequently speculates about who financially benefited from the 9/11 attacks. Who benefited from the massive attack on our country. Again, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth are a conspiracy organization. It's mental. But also, if you ever were one of those jet fuel can't melt steel beams people, like he's one of the guys who propagated that the most. Let's see, what else we got here? Totally off-grid bell tent setup. That's probably useful knowledge, okay. Secret to staying healthy and pain-free for a lifetime. Well, I don't think that's going to work out for you. I mean, good luck, but I think everyone feels at least some pain by the end. Let's see. A lot of Jordan B. Peterson on this. Neuroscience, stand up and just say what you have to say. Oh, the spike protein isn't benign. Huh. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting here. Huh, some odd stuff here. Cancer, early warning signs. The billion-hour routine. Oh, and the first, literally the first, or maybe the last, I don't know how it's organized here. 9/11 dancing Israelis and urban moving systems. Literally from a channel called Truther TV. Yeah, I think he might be a little bit into, might be a little bit into the anti-Semitic 9/11 conspiracy theories. Just a little bit, just a little tiny bit, maybe. See, did I miss anything here? Nothing I can notice offhand. Go back, you must watch the chip video. Fuck you. Also true. But yes, look, all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, his rise to prominence was not because he is a talented musician. Though, you know, the song certainly isn't musically terrible. But I will say that, like, the reason it is everywhere, the reason it is ubiquitous this week, is because there is a concerted conservative push to put it in every single home, in every single phone, in every single, like, Facebook feed where your mom's talking. You know, like, that's the purpose of it. It was deliberately orchestrated that way by a media company that specializes in making things go viral and grifting the algorithm. And that project was spearheaded by Dan Bongino, a very prominent conservative figure. And it worked. It worked. So we need to understand, and the reason I've been talking about this so long, we need to understand, first of all, why it worked, why it is now resonating with people, why conservatives found this an effective vehicle, and all of that stuff. Because I think that is very, very important for us being able to move forward and to be able to address a lot of these things. So, anyway, Oliver Anthony, Richmond, north of Richmond, probably should have ended after verse 1. The rest of the song's lyrics are very sus. And frankly, I like it, but just the first verse. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 stars.